Afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Wasn't planning to be here this afternoon. Got word of a collapse of a building in Manchester, apparently under demolition. So I've turned the car around. I was out this afternoon, turned the car around, and I've come back to bring you up to speed on it. First and foremost, we're going to go over to Manchester Evening News, which looks like this. That is the live updates here. It says live updates. As part of a Manchester City building collapses following scaffolding failure during demolition work. That picture, I think you can see quite a lot of scaffolding there. You can see the edge of an excavator there. You'll see in a video that I'm going to show you in just a moment that machine actually belongs to PP O'Connor. Now, I have to add, this is hot off the press, as it were. No idea whether it's a PP O'Connor site, although if you can see that image there, certainly the PP O'Connor machine, or two PP O'Connor machines, are actually within the site cordon there. But let me just go back to what it's saying on the Manchester Evening News. Part of a Manchester city centre building collapsed following a scaffolding failure during demolition work on Friday, October the 24th. I think that's probably a sort of a naive take on it. My assumption here is that the scaffolding wasn't actually propping the building up, but we'll come to that. Alberton House off Bridge Street is being knocked down to make way for a new development. One person who works nearby said there was a strong earthquake-like feeling and that surrounding buildings were evacuated with firefighters at the scene. Another witness added, "We were shaking and we didn't know if the building was coming down. Then we saw plumes of dust." Manchester Evening News saying, "This is a breaking incident. Follow our dedicated live feed below," which you can do, manchestereveningnews.co.uk. You can follow it over there. They've got key events. Apparently, the scaffold collapse, no reported injuries, which is good news. That goes back to 3:18, so half an hour or so ago. Here's some images from the actual site itself. As you can see, there's a scaffolding in the first one. There's another shot of that PP O'Connor machine. There is some more scaffolding as well. Down to here. Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service reported a scaffolding collapse. The building was being demolished at the time. There have been no reports of any injuries, but the fire service has now left the scene. Apparently, one fire engine from Manchester Central attended St Mary's Parsonage just after 2:50 p.m. today after scaffolding on a building being demolished partially collapsed. No people involved, and the crew are leaving this with building control. Doesn't really tell us very much more. There's the fire service at the scene. There's a few of the workers there as well. Now, we do have some video footage courtesy of the fine folks at the Manchester Evening News. Let me bring that up on the screen. I'm just going to go over to the chat because somebody has joined us. Not seeing exactly who that is, but let me go back. So here is the footage that we have so far. This is, as I say, from the Manchester Evening News. If you'd like to follow greater or more on the spot updates, then go over to manchestereveningnews.co.uk. But here is the footage that they are playing on their website.
But look how close that is to our building.
We'll go back to that video, but I can tell you this is now being covered over on the BBC, on bbc.co.uk. Building collapse in Manchester city centre. Let me bring that up for you. There we... Is that the one? I think that's the one there. Yeah, there we are. I'm not sure this is going to be excuse me, not sure this is going to tell us anything that we don't already know, but here we go. The floor shook as a city centre building partially collapsed in Manchester, witnesses have said. And there is, you can see the The monoflex with PP O'Connor's name on it, partially collapsed scaffold as well. The property, Alberton House, is at a demolition site near Bridge Street, and Greater Manchester Fire Service has confirmed no one was in the building at the time. Good news. Chloe Gallagher told the BBC she also heard an almighty crash as the building came down. She said the dust clouds looked like they were coming across, so I grabbed my colleague and moved out the way, but it was extremely loud and the floor shook as well. We turned to look and the building was collapsing. It didn't look planned as there was lots of scaffolding still up, and there were people in the building next door rushing to the windows to check what happened. I saw half the building collapsing, and then there was this extreme dust cloud. We moved as soon as we saw the dust cloud coming towards us. Greater Manchester Fire Service have said the crews were called onto the scene at 14:50, so 2:50, pretty much 1 hour ago. Steve Wheeler, who was in the building next door, said, "I heard a loud bang. We were all looking at each other, wondering what's that. We didn't think much of it. It sounded like something had landed on the building." Let's see if we can find any more updates on that. Let's have a look, see if we can find any more. Uh, I think several of the TV news channels are covering this. I'm fairly sure I saw something from GB News when I was looking at this just a moment ago. Let's have a look. GB News, yep, they are saying, here we go. Manchester building collapse. Let me bring it up so that you can see it, not just me. Yep, there you are. Manchester building collapse, earthquake-like feeling as scaffolding falls into the river, apparently. A section of the building on St Mary's Parsonage has collapsed into the River Irwell. A building has collapsed in Manchester city centre as emergency services rush to the scene. This is GB News. Not a news source I would normally rely upon, but hey, you get your news where you can in these instances. The building just off Bridge Street was reportedly scheduled for demolition when it partially collapsed. It's understood to be Alberton House, reports the Manchester Evening News. So they are just literally replicating what is on Manchester Evening News. What else do we have here? This from the Daily Star. Let me have a look. Yeah, there we are. A huge building collapse in UK city centre has 500 evacuated in what felt like an earthquake. The collapsed building is believed to be part of Alberton House, just off Bridge Street in Manchester city centre. One witness said, "We were shaking. We didn't know if the building was coming down." Another witness. Oh no, that's the same one. Sorry. Reports suggest one side of the building came down, sending scaffolding into the River Irwell beside it. The building in question rather, is believed to have been scheduled for demolition. Lots of people showing exactly the same photographs as you can see. Our friend Wolfie is here, all the way from the States. Peter McKenna is here as well. Seems to be just the scaffolding. I'm not so sure it is actually. We'll have another look and see if we can have a look at that. I'm sure PP O'Connor will be able to give you some details, Mark. To be perfectly honest, my feeling at the moment, Peter, is to let PP O'Connor deal with what's on. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be them there distracting them from what is obviously a breaking news thing. I'd much rather they checked on the situation with their staff and with the local residents as well. But I'm sure PP O'Connor will be able to tell us more at some point in the not too distant future. But I do want to go back. Let's go back to the Manchester Evening News. If I can find the Manchester Evening News, it is that one there. Let's have a look. That does look like mostly scaffolding, although what is the scaffolding actually affixed to? It's very, very hard to say from all of this. Um, so it's really hard to say exactly what's happened there. But all of the reports are saying it is a building collapse as opposed to a excuse me, a scaffold collapse. For those of you that have just joined us, there has been a building collapse or a scaffold collapse or a combination Let me try and play this and see if that works.
I'm so scatty, don't get up. But look how close that is to our building.
Yeah, my apologies for the break-in in connection there. As I say, didn't have a chance to actually check the stream before I came online. Just press the go button, and yeah, we've been hitting a few issues. But just to bring people up to date, there has been a building collapse or a scaffold collapse, possibly. I'll tell you what, just bear with me for 1 second. I'm just going to take a phone call because it might be about this. Bear with me 1 second while I deal with this. Sorry, whoever that was has rung off. They may phone me back in just a moment. But yes, bringing you up to speed, there has been a building or a scaffolding or a combination thereof collapse in Manchester city centre. I can bring you up to date with this. This is from the Manchester Evening News. That's what alerted me to the incident in the first place. I don't want to reiterate it. If you've been here for a little while, you'll probably know the main crux of the story. But apparently, other buildings have reportedly been evacuated following a strong earthquake-like feeling following this collapse. Part of a Manchester city centre building collapsed following a scaffolding failure during demolition work on Friday, October the 24th. Alberton House off Bridge Street is being knocked down to make way for a new development. One person who works nearby said there was a strong earthquake-like feeling and the surrounding buildings were evacuated with firefighters at the scene. As you can see, this is manchestereningnews.co.uk if you'd like to find out a bit more there. I'm just watching their live feed, and the live feed hasn't actually updated since 18 minutes past 3, so 3/4 of an hour ago or thereabouts. There is this apparently the scaffolding fell away from the building. Building was being demolished at the time. There's the damaged scaffolding. Yeah, not much more I can tell you there. There's a few more images there. I wonder if anybody else is covering this just to see. Let me have a look and see if there's anything that we need to show to you there. I tell you what, I'm going to put you on mute for just a second because that call is coming back in. Yeah, my apologies. That was somebody actually reporting that very thing to me. Let's have a look. There is apparently some coverage here on Facebook. Bear with me a second. Can I bring that up on the screen? I need to take that one away. Take that away. Do that and bring up Facebook if I can. There we go. There's the share screen. To be perfectly honest, I think this is going to be a replication of everything else you've seen. Yeah, just images as far as I can see. This is actually from Manchester Evening News. No, that's no help. That's no help at all. So yes, just the one photograph and a link to. Yeah, there's nothing really to report there from Facebook. I think they've just grabbed that from the Manchester Evening News. So update finally is there has been a collapse on a demolition site in Manchester at Alberton House. As far as we are aware, it was either a scaffold collapse, a building collapse, or a combination thereof. Apparently no injuries, which is good news, although a couple of the neighbouring buildings have been evacuated as a result of that collapse. That may have just been an initial response to the sound and the dust and everything else. We don't actually know at the moment. But yeah, that's pretty much brings you up to date. I'm going to go back to the video one final time and see if I can find any more news on this. If not, I'll sign off and let you get back to your afternoon. But here is the video that is being played on the Manchester Evening News as we speak.
But look how close that is to our building.
Don't know how closely you were listening to that, but there's actually a lady on that video saying, look how close that is to our building. I'm assuming she is one of those that was actually evacuated from a neighbouring building. But as I say, the final update is, as it stands at the moment, there's been either a scaffold collapse, a building collapse, or a combination thereof on a demolition site in Manchester. It appears, I can't confirm this, but it appears to be a site of PP O'Connor. As far as we're aware, there have been no casualties, no injuries, which is good news. The fire brigade have attended and have apparently left. I'm sure the health and safety executive are either on the scene or will be very, very soon. Neighbouring buildings have been evacuated. I'd like to think they will be sent back in fairly soon, although being a Friday afternoon, I would like to think that a few people will take the advantage and get away for their weekend early. Just a very quick update, as I say, coming to you live. It happened at 2:50 this afternoon, and yeah, we wanted to get straight on it because obviously that is a bit of breaking news for the UK demolition industry. Hope everybody on the site is okay. Hope they're not too traumatized. I hope that the initial reports of no injuries prove to be correct. I'm sure they will. We'll keep you updated. If you missed this, and we will actually put this over on Demolition News just as soon as we've finished. If you've got any more details, if you'd like to share any details, then please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. I will reach out to PP O'Connor for some sort of comment or statement. But as I say, I'm not going to do that. I probably won't even do that today. I'd much rather they concentrate and focus their efforts on making sure that their people are all okay and that neighbours are okay. We'll worry about the statements and stuff like that immediately afterwards. But yeah, until then, everybody, just stay safe. There's proof positive that accidents can and do happen. PP O'Connor, very well respected company, and they have suffered a collapse. I don't know whether it's a scaffold collapse or a building collapse or a combination thereof, but they've suffered a collapse. If it can happen to a company of the quality of PP O'Connor, then it can happen to anyone. That's assuming it is actually on, it appears to be their holding, so I'm assuming it's going to be the case, but you know, you have to tread carefully with these things. That's as much as we know at the moment. If I find out any more that's worth sharing with you, I will come back. But until I do, please go and look after yourselves, look after your family, your friends and your colleagues. Stay safe, and I'll see you again very, very soon.